All right, welcome to part 4 of my series on arithmetic sequences. This last one is probably the most troubling for students, and that is the recursive form. Sounds dangerous and hard, but it's not. The recursive form is simply that any given term, a sub n, is defined by whatever we do to the term before it, a sub n minus 1. This particular example, I'm going to have a n minus 1 plus 5 is how I'm going to define this particular sequence. When you have recursive form, you have to be given at least one term at some point within the sequence in order to solve it. But even before I get into that, let me point out that this would be the term that you're looking for, perhaps that you're given, as the case may be. This is the term before it. Okay? So there will be times when you see this as a sub n plus 1 equaling a sub n, say, plus 5. These would essentially be the exact same sequence. Notice that in this case, because I called the term I'm looking for n plus 1, the term before it would be a sub n, which is exactly the same as if I have a sub n, and then the term before it is a sub n minus 1. Remember that this subtext, if you will, defines the term number. In this specific example, we're going to be given that a sub 1 equals 4. So if I know a sub 1 is 4, how do I find out each subsequent term? Well, a sub 2, no matter how I do it up here, right? A sub 2 is going to equal the term before it, which is a sub 1 plus 5. So that in turn is going to equal 4 plus 5, or 9. Okay? So now what if I go, okay, see where a sub 1 went there. Okay? So now if I want a sub 3, that's going to be a sub 2 plus 5. So that in turn will equal 9 plus 5, which is 14. And we're going to keep going with this. So you can see in that particular case where the 9 goes here in the place of a sub 2. So now, what if I wanted to write it in the explicit form, which remember, the explicit form is either a sub n or f of n, whichever is required of you. In either case, we know that the common difference, in other words, how much each of these terms is changing, is this 5. Easy to see, right? I'm adding 5, I'm adding 5. That's the common difference. And not surprisingly, up here, there it is again. So remembering from the previous videos, that means I'm going to multiply 5 by my n. But now we have to be careful. Remember, if I plug in, that means, for instance, if I walk over here for a moment, if I say a sub 1, so a sub n is a sub 1, that means that 5 times 1 would equal my a sub 1 or first term. But that's not the case. My first term is 4. What do I do to get from 5 to 4? I subtract 1. So that means that a sub n equals 5n minus 1. So over here I need to put 5n minus 1. So that's how we can go from the recursive form to the explicit form in an arithmetic sequence. Thank you.